Hi grade 7/8, Mr. Hofman coming to you. This is your O Canada playing test preparation video. It should take about 5 minutes. There's a lot of content in the video. If you would like to review the video, that might be a good idea after you're done it. Or if there's a section of the video that you find useful, you can review that section. Or a section that you didn't listen as closely as you could have, good idea to review that as well. First thing I'd like to talk about is band face. I've been pushing this in class a lot lately. Basically, the band face is when you use the consonant M and your lips come back a little bit and maybe into a little smile. M. You should practice it in a mirror. Sometimes you think you're doing it, but it doesn't, but you're not. You can practice it with your mouthpiece in a mirror. And make sure you're keeping that band face while you play. If you're puffing your cheeks out or blowing without the band face, you might not get as good a sound. Some people have a lot of trouble with it. Just stay with it and keep practicing. For O Canada, I'm suggesting when you rehearse at home, you break it into 3 sections, 3 manageable sections. In this video, in each of the sections, I'm going to suggest an exercise that you might try. The first one is bar 1 to 8, and that's the first line of the piece. And I'd like to make a suggestion for brass players that you try to play O Canada just on your mouthpiece. Now, I like to get a pitch first. Okay, so I kind of know what it sounds like. Now I'm going to play it just on my mouthpiece. That's the first section that I'd like you to practice. If you're not hitting all those pitches exactly, that's okay. If you play something like this. As long as your buzz is ascending when the notes ascend and descending when the notes descend, it's a helpful exercise. After you've played that a couple of times, just on your mouthpiece, you'll find sometimes that you sound a little bit clearer on your instrument. The next section of the piece that I'm going to suggest you practice is bars 9 to 16. That's the section that begins where we just ended and ends with the lyric, "We stand on guard for thee." Now this section has a lot of 8th notes, a lot of movement. So I'm going to suggest that you do tonguing exercises before playing this. And reed players, you can take out your mouthpiece. You can only play it so many times because it is a little hard on the head and hard on the other people in your house because it's so loud. But if we start with da 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 and slowly tongue it on our mouthpiece. Brass players can buzz it. And the focus here again is the use of our tongue. Reed players, some people in the class still don't touch their tongue to the reed. When the sound stops, my tongue is physically coming up and touching the tip of the reed gently. That should happen in between every note in this piece. Once you've practiced doing it with just the mouthpieces, then play it through, and play it through slowly. The last section is bars 17 to the end, and that ends or that begins at the section we just ended, and of course ends at the end of the song. My suggestion when you practice this section is to simply play slowly. I use a metronome, I have one back here, and I have it set at 69 beats per minute. You can find a metronome by Googling online metronome, and Google will bring one up. If you set it to 69 beats per minute, you get a tempo around this speed. And anytime you're practicing, or even if you're doing a playing test, make sure not to rush. Tempo is not a mark on this test, so play slowly. If it works for you, it's sometimes easier. So I would practice each of those sections, and I would try all 3 exercises that I've suggested. If you find one of them works well for you or makes your playing better, I would do it for the whole song. Make sure when you're practicing to divide up the piece as you need to. So I've divided it up into 3 sections. I suggest you practice bars 1 to 8, 3 or 4 times, bars 9 to 16, 3 or 4 times, and bars 17 to the end, 3 or 4 times. If in any of those sections there's a piece of musical material that you find challenging, don't avoid it. Slowly repeat maybe just 1 bar or maybe 2 bars that give you trouble. After doing all these little parts, then I would try to play the whole thing through, knowing that there's probably going to be mistakes. Perfection's really hard to achieve in music. It's what we're always striving for, but don't be too hard on yourself, stopping every time you make a mistake. Allow yourself to make a few mistakes and know that you're getting better. So with this test, if there are any questions, if you need practice time, if you need help with recording, make sure to come and see me. As I said in class, as long as the test is completed in a timely way and at a high level, I'm happy to be flexible with when you hand it in and how you do it. Thanks for watching.